A lot of news to cover, so let's get right into it. Hello, everyone. My name is Derek, and welcome to Detroit Lions Syndicate. If this is your first time here, we talk all things about the Detroit Lions, and we make videos almost every day, so consider subscribing and hit that notification bell to put these videos in your notification feed. Just a few days out from the Week 5 matchup against the New England Patriots, where we head to Gillette Stadium to take on Bailey Zappi, Bill Belichick, and former Lions head coach Matt Patricia. And the Detroit Lions are making some roster moves. Some have been elevated from the practice squad, some have been signed to the practice squad, and some are able to return to practice today. And others are still a little while out. So let's jump into the Detroit Lions roster moves on Wednesday. From the Detroit Lions Twitter, Detroit Lions announced roster moves. Signed wide receiver Tom Kennedy from the practice squad to the active roster. Signed kicker Michael Badgley to the practice squad. Cornerback Jerry Jacobs and defensive lineman Josh Paschal will return to practice today from the reserve PUP list. As far as Tom Kennedy being elevated to the active roster, Tom Kennedy has been a huge fan favorite pretty much since he got here, survived the Matt Patricia regime, and always found a way to make this team. And we were actually surprised when we cut him. And I remember watching Hard Knocks, he just had like this zoned out look on his face. We wind up bringing him back to the practice squad, and he stepped up in a big way in last week's game against the Seattle Seahawks. Since Tom Kennedy has been elevated, what does that mean about Quintez Cephus? I haven't really heard anything or read anything that is telling us what happened to Cephus. I know Dan Campbell said in yesterday's press conference that he was kind of still waiting to see what was wrong with Cephus and how long he was going to be out. So Tom Kennedy elevated to the active roster. I think Tom is going to be solid. He's proven himself time and time again, and he showed up in a big way. And even without St. Brown and Swift, we still were able to put up 45 points. Now, just a little side note, I don't think the Detroit Lions are going to do this, and I think the waiver period might have passed already, but Andy Isabella was released yesterday, and of course, I figured, could we use him? We probably could, but it looks like the Detroit Lions let him pass through waivers. We were, I want to say, 7th or 8th on the waiver claim list, so he would have had to get through 6 or 7 other teams to get here anyway, but I really don't think we were going to pick him up regardless. I think it really was going to be like what happened to Cephus, and could the Detroit Lions think that we could use him? So I don't think they're going to pick him up, and I think he already passed through waivers, so now he is probably a free agent. The Detroit Lions were such in need of a kicker. I'm surprised they didn't bring in Destroying to kick for them. They had 4 kickers come in yesterday, and they decided to sign Michael Badgley from the Chicago Bears. Now, Michael made all 4 of his field goal attempts in his game on Sunday, while they wind up parting ways, the Detroit Lions that is, with Dominic Eberle. Now, it's uncertain if Austin's going to be back this coming week, and if so, if he's going to be 100%. I think he's going to play since Badgley was signed to the practice squad. So you can't get any worse than what we had, and hopefully this guy is leaps and bounds better than Dominic Eberle. And we got some good news coming on the defensive front. Cornerback Jerry Jacobs and our second-round pick Josh Paschal has returned to practice as of today. Now, starting today, the 21-day window opens that the Detroit Lions have to either bring them up to the active roster, or they have to put them on season-ending IR from the day they came back to practice. So that would be today. So by the end of the month, they're going to be good to go, or they are going to be put on that season-ending IR. I'm excited to see these two guys play because Jerry did very well last year, and our second-round pick, the one we got 46 overall, we finally get to see what he can do in a Lions uniform. So I'm very excited about that to see how this turns out. We need all the help we can get. We need help in every line of the defense, linebacker, secondary, and defensive line. So I'm excited to see what he can do, seeing as how the Detroit Lions took him 46 overall, and maybe Josh can shake the stigma that accompanies Detroit Lions second-round picks. Either one of these guys are going to make an immediate impact. They can return to practice today, but we probably won't see him on the field until at least the end of the month. But that's good news that they are able to come back to practice. And it looks like Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell feel like a lot of you guys do. It comes out today that Jameson Williams is a while from returning to practice. Said a little while a little while out after the bye. So we're talking about now maybe November-ish before he even comes back to practice. And I know a lot of you guys are saying we can bring him back after Thanksgiving. And you could be on to something, because that it seems like if he can't get to practice, and when he comes back from practice, he could be another 2 to 3 weeks out. So it looks like Jameson Williams' return to the active roster is going to be quite a ways away. Now, once that happens, once he returns to practice, just like earlier in the video, the Detroit Lions have that 21-day window to decide what they're going to do with him after that. And I think that's what they're really waiting on as to why this is taking so long. Because once he comes back to practice, they got 21 days to decide what they want to do. So that tells me that, or I would assume, that they still want to use him this year, but they want to make sure that he is 100% ready to go. So leave it in the comments below. Do you think Jameson Williams will play on the active roster in 2022? Let me know. My name is Derek. This is Detroit Lions Syndicate. We're on our way to 5,800, trying to get to 6K before October is over. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself. And as always, go Lions.